Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and notice I didn't say Dokkan or Legends or Rockman or whatever, because today what we're going to actually do is we're going to go ahead and compare Dokkan and Legends to see, basically we're going to get into a debate as to see which one is better, right? This is a quick disclaimer, is that I play both. And I actively enjoy and not enjoy certain aspects of the game that I think community-wide, I think a number of people would probably agree with a good amount of the points that I'm going to make. So that doesn't mean that you're going to agree with everything, and that's okay. Nor should you. You know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion based on their lived experiences. So I get that, right? So to kind of go over real quick, what we're going to do is go over Dokkan first. I'm going to talk about the advantages and the disadvantages, and then we'll switch over to Legends and we'll talk about the advantages and disadvantages. So without further ado, let's kind of go ahead and check it out. So, alright, so one of the things that we'll go ahead and talk about first is the free-to-play units. So here in Dokkan in particular, this is my box, and it's a little kind of messed up, but regardless, anyway, a big selling point in Dokkan is the fact that I can go ahead and grind some free-to-play units and be able to play the game comfortably, right? I'm not, I would probably have to summon some featured, units and to be able to do some of the harder events, but for the most part, I can, kind of get through some difficult events, by using some free-to-play units. And, in particular right here is Candy Vegito, who had came out 3 years ago, I want to say, for Halloween, and since then has gotten easy A. So most notably right now for the 6th year anniversary, we obviously got to see Master Roshi, who started off as an LR up to 20 SA, and then part 3 gave us, at least in JP when he was released, gave us this big surprise that he was easy A. So SA 25, right? So, which is a huge deal. Another one, for example, would be LR First Form Frieza. These are free-to-play units that you could get and start taking on difficult events, So, obviously, free-to-play Easy A, Frieza is an Easy A. So, the second piece I want to go ahead and talk about, in particular right here, is the generosity behind stone counts, should I say. So, here, obviously, I already kind of took care of some stuff, but for the most part, Dokkan tends to be a little bit more generous when it comes to stones. Legends in comparison isn't as much, so that's kind of keeping that in mind, is that there's still a lot of missions for me to complete, so I could still, if potentially, get taking care of all of these and still be able to get some stones for summons. Another piece that I want to go ahead and talk about, a big advantage, super huge big advantage, is the GSSR banners, right? For the most part, I want to say 95% of Dokkan banners are guaranteed SSR. Okay, that means that you can throw in 50 stones and you're guaranteed at least one SSR. Okay, that doesn't mean it's a featured unit. That doesn't mean it's the unit that's the main unit on the banner. But at least you're walking away with the SSR that has the potential for Easy A. That has a potential to pair very well with other teams. That has a potential for even, I don't want to say fodder, but like SA super attack foddering per se. So there's that, right? The only one in particular is, like, for example, this one, the ticket summon. This one does not have a guaranteed SSR, but that's okay, because these are free tickets. We get them for free. You really shouldn't be complaining about free stuff. So for example, here it doesn't show that it's guaranteed SSR, whereas for example here it does say it's guaranteed SSR. So anyway, that's the piece that I have in regards to banners, right? The next piece I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about in particular is the where am I getting with this? The gameplay, yeah, sorry. So I have recorded all this stuff so I can use it. So the gameplay is a little bit more passive, and to me, I like that because I can do other things, right? I can watch a Netflix movie, I can watch anime, I can talk to my wife, I can I can, play in the pool. I can jump in the pool, and as long as I have a water protector, like, we're good. Like, I can play passively and chill, right? Legends, you have to be pretty active and keen and aware every single time because it's a very, very active game. So that's kind of, a big plus. Another big plus is the non-PvP game aspect of the game. And in particular, it's really, really good that they don't have PvP because, there's so much cheating that can happen if we had a PvP aspect of the game. So, I'm glad that they don't have that. Another big advantage that Dokkan has is the fact that JP and Global's calendars are not synced. So that's a huge advantage to Global because we can forecast the banners that are coming up and thus save our stones for said banner, right? So right now I can save my stones on my Global account in order to get Vegeta, Super Vegeta, during the Android saga, right? Which is a, game-breaking unit, right? Otherwise, Legends doesn't have that. They released both in JP and Global, simultaneously, right? So another big piece is also the EZA units. EZA units, the only caveat is that you need to have the EZA to be able to make utility of the medals. But outside of that, they have their own stage. And on top of that, they have minimum 30 stones that you get for free for beating the stages, plus anywhere between 3 to 5 stones, depending on if you complete the missions or not. So, now another big piece that I want to go ahead and talk about is, unfortunately, this is kind of a disadvantage. So I'm gonna jump a little bit, right? The disadvantage here is the fact that the gameplay the end game can kind of cut really quick. You can finish the story very quickly. You can finish the story events very quickly. You can finish events very quickly. EZA areas you can finish very quickly. And because of that, the, I guess, replay value is a little low. With the link level update, that's obviously increased a little more as far as like the incentive to replay, but that's a bit of a grind. Excuse me, guys. So it could get kind of boring, right? So just kind of keep that in mind. I'm leaving one advantage for the end because I really like this advantage, but for the most part, like if I complete all of these, I'm done. I don't have any other ways to get stones. I don't have any other ways there's no incentive. So, another big disadvantage, or actually this is the advantage, sorry. So what I'm doing is I'm editing. So, is Pet Town Battle, right? It's a unique little simplistic game mode that I don't entirely know how it works. I think a lot of people don't entirely know how it works either, other than the fact that it's cool. It's niche, I guess, in a way. It's just kind of cool. So to me, it's just kind of another passive way to be able to spend time collecting cards, collecting stickers, doing things like putting together different little combinations and letting RNG, let you know if you're lucky or not. It's like another way of gachaing, It's to me, if I didn't get the unit that I wanted from banners, like for example, I didn't get the Rainbow SSB Vegeta, right? What I'm doing to curb that itch of summoning is using Pet Town Battle, right? There is some kind of like compensation for that. You get these cards. It's cool. It's simplistic. I like it. I really like it. So there we go with Pet Town Battle. I don't quite understand how it works again. But I'm sure, if you know how it works, let me know in the comments. I've read through the text in about the game mode, and it's still pretty I don't get it. So now we're gonna go over one of the last disadvantages that I particularly don't like is Chain Battle. More so, it should be called Pain Battle. But these are the units, obviously, that I'm using against Jiren. but I don't know what the fuck I'm doing half of the time. And I think a lot of times people don't know either. You know, it's not very well laid out. It's not very well rolled out. Like, how do the, you know, what links work, what don't, which one is the most, like, what units are the most advantageous, as opposed, like, they don't tier it in a way where you can't tell, you know. The coloring is so subtle. Apparently, like, MUI Goku is, I guess, the better unit to go up against Jiren, but then the other possibility could be, you know, SCRUI Goku. But I guess there's like a certain color shine that's different, and it's so subtle that if you don't catch it at the right moment, at the right angle, at the right light, you would think they're on par with each other. And that's the fact of the matter, that's not the case, right? The other thing is that the game mode is very much pay to play driven, right? This means that you have to utilize friends that are pay to play heavy so that you can access their rainbowed units to be able to successfully reach, you know, the top percent, basically 1 to 5 or 8, or I'm in the 8th percent right now. And again, I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing. So. All right, so here we're gonna go ahead and jump into Legends and go over some of that. So first and foremost, the advantage that Legends has over Dokkan is the fact that it is PvP driven, as we see here. Excuse me. So in PvP, it is a very active way of playing. You're actively trying to beat the opponent, and the fact of the matter is that you're playing against live opponents as well. You're not playing against the bot, right? Sometimes you might, because the system might throw in a bot here and there, but outside of that, for the most part, when you go into PvP, it is a live opponent. So that's a huge incentive. I mean, it's the core reason for the game, right? Collect these units and you know, wreak havoc on your opponent, right? So that's first and foremost, right? The second piece is also the fact that the raids are relatively fun if they're well designed and rolled out properly, right? They give you high rewards, right? You get to, you know, collect CC, which is Chrono Crystals. You get to collect, you know, multi-Z power, skip tickets. I mean, you just name it. There's a plethora of things that you can buy in exchange for the raid coins that you get, right? So that's really fun. I mean, it's a huge incentive to play the game. Zenkai is another advantage. So interestingly enough, Zenkai falls within advantage and disadvantage. So the advantage behind Zenkai units is very similar to Dokkan's EZA units, is that it takes these outdated units, these units that everybody's forgotten about, that probably have never served utility, and make them, you know, buffed up and more relevant, right? In particular, you know, we've got you know, Zenkai Broly that we have in this gameplay. We also have Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, the Legend Limited version. So those guys got Zenkai'd and pretty much became super relevant. I mean, talk about the most broken unit, 18. Zenkai 18, like, she was demolishing the game. You know, so you know, just kind of keeping that in mind. So it is relatively, like, you know, pretty cool to kind of go as far as taking outdated units and making them play. The last advantage that that Legends has over Dokkan is that Dokkan does have one aspect of this advantage, but it doesn't have the full effect, right? So in Legends, you have multiple ways of farming CC at low cost. In particular, you've got the mission plans. So when you start the game, it's going to ask you to choose a mission plan, right? I think the first one is the beginner, which got Shallot. The second one is like Scatter Vegeta, I think. And then the last, the expert or whatever, which is usually the one that I pick, is Super Saiyan Goku from Namek Saga, right? Now, those are relatively low price if you want to access the premium, right? If you access basic, like I'm just gonna do the expert level missions, but not buy the premium aspect of it, right? Because there's 2 tiers. Then you can, I think, farm up to, I think, 1,500 or 2,000 CC. But if you activate the premium plan, then I think you can walk away with a total of like 4,000 or 5,000 CC. Relatively easy, very low cost. I want to say the cost is $7.99. It resets today, so I'll be able to know. But by the time this video comes out, we'll all know, right? But I think it's $7.99. I think the first tier is like $3.99. The other one is $5.99, and the last one, the expert one, is $7.99. Regardless, low cost, right? You've also got the skip digger, the diggers, right? The CC digger and the CC DX digger, right? Each one will give you relatively certain amount of CC. I think the DX will give you 2,300 or 2,500 CC. The other digger will give you, I think, 1,000 or 1,500 CC, right? So if you get all those 3 plans together, straight off the bat, you're already getting like 6,000-7,000, maybe even 8,000 CC, just off of, let's see, maybe like $20. So that's usually how I accumulate my CC. One of the disadvantages, which I'll talk a little bit about in a minute, is the fact that, pricing can be a little bit high cost with Legends. So that's that. One of the disadvantages about Legends is the fact that it can be modified. It can be modded. So thankfully in this gameplay, you guys can see that I haven't came across a modder, right? So big thumbs up, right? But sometimes you'll come across, there's a video where Truth was playing Legends, and I think somebody had the Rising Rush already, like at the beginning of the match, and he was like, "What the fuck?" Like, yeah, there's people that can mod the game, right? And if you mod it, like if you're smart about the way that you mod, it's very it's low risk in getting caught, right? It's just a matter of how you mod that will get you in trouble, right? Which goes into the second piece of the disadvantages, the fact that there's little to no modding consequences, right? At least with PvP, right? In PvE, you can mod the fuck out of the game and collect all the chrono crystals and screw, Toshi, and be like, screw you, like, I'm getting all this shit for free, right? PvP is a little bit different. You could report somebody, but more often than not, they get it, right? So that's another piece, right? Back to the Zenkai, how Zenkai can be a disadvantage. Actually, hold on. I'm gonna hold on to that in a minute. So the next piece that we're gonna go ahead and talk about for the disadvantage is so sorry, is the pricing, right? Legends is a very heavy pay-to-play game. To stay relevant in the PvP meta, you have to have the most current units. Or if not, you have to have the most current Zenkai. And that can work against you. The problem with getting units is the fact that in Legends, at least in this all-star, banner that we're going to go ahead and summon right now, but for the most part, the banners, they don't guarantee you at minimum an extreme unit. They don't. So you could walk away with all heroes for your multi. And that can be downright aggravating and piss the fuck off, right? The only time you can guarantee the fact that you can get relevant is through Zenkai, right? And again, that in itself is an advantage, but that in itself can also be a disadvantage because it can eat up your CC very quickly, right? If you want to stay within the realm of relevancy in PvP, you're going to be dumping out a lot of CC in these Zenkai units that also have the potential to be, overshadowed in the long term, So just kind of keep that in mind, is that, Legends is pay to play friendly and not free to play friendly. So The last piece I'm going to talk about is the Zenkai, right? I think that was the piece. Yeah, I want to say Zenkai could work against you in the sense that, again, you have to dump a lot of CC into making these units relevant, right? So in particular, like this Gohan, he's super relevant, but I had to dump a lot of CC to get him, So that hurts the ability to be able to get units from other banners and be able to have the shiny new Maju, which I don't have, or the shiny new Super Saiyan 3 Goku, which I don't have. I'm not that kind of a whale. So all in all, the advantages and disadvantages between the two are kind of very striking. And what we'll do now is actually looking at Dokkan. In particular, Dokkan had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 advantages when it comes to free-to-play friendliness, right? You've got the free-to-play friendly units, free-to-play generous zone campaigns. Banner pools are guaranteed SSRs. It is a passive playstyle, so you can chill, watch anime, watch movies, go whatever, right? It is not PvP, so there's like little to no reason why you should be afraid of modders screwing you over in a match. There is JP and global forecasting, right? You can play JP, which I do, and I can anticipate what units are going to come to global because I main global, right? I play JP loosely, but I can main global and know that the next unit that's coming out after the anniversary is Videl, which is a game-breaking unit. Do I want to go ahead and get her? Should I? So on and so forth, right? Easy A units have their respective Easy A stages with the stone rewards along with it, right? So, that's pretty self-explanatory. Peton Battle, which is, just unique and niche and kind of cute. It's kind of cool. I don't know. I like it. It's simplistic. Those are the advantages. The disadvantages, fairly quick end game. You could farm through everything. Hell, you could even plug in your ID into modders and they'll farm your entire campaign and story and everything, and you're done. You've got tons of stones but no play value. It can get boring really quickly, so it gets really repetitive. Bubble popping can be tiresome. Or repetitive of both after a while, right? In chain battle, like I said, more like pain battle, we don't know. It's still kind of an enigma. To me, I feel like I understand very, very basics of pain battle, but not to the degree where I'd be like, oh, let me do a showcase video of chain battle and show you guys what, fuck no. So those are some disadvantages. Advantages with Legends were primarily for PvP, which is obviously the core of the game. High replay value with the game, which means you're actively playing against other players. Hell, you could even invite a friend to play against you, I've, played against coworkers. There is a relatively low priced CC farming opportunity, whereas Dokkan only has one, which is a daily capsule. But with Legends, you can get a lot of CC at maybe $20 every 15 to 20 days or something. That's not bad, Raids, when designed well and rolled out well, they are fun to play because they're just fun overall. And then two, they tend to give generous rewards, right? You get free CC, you get free Z power, all that kind of stuff. Zenkai really takes these outdated units and makes them relevant again, and players that, for example, I was a fan of Green Broly when he came out, and now he's relevant again. So disadvantages tends to have more, actually. it has, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My eyes suck today. 5. So PvP in itself is its own weakness because modders can riddle the game. For easy wins, and then what do you got, right? Oh, screw you. You decide to update now? Little to no modding consequences in the PvP field if modded correctly. Like, not correctly, but if you are modding smartly, then sorry about that. My Mac decided to, I have a work Mac, and it decided to go ahead and start updating right now. And my fans are going crazy. Sorry if you hear that. So modding, there's very little consequences. The banners they don't guarantee a sparking unit, right? With the exception of very, very rare banners. For example, the All-Star banner, that guarantees you a sparking. That doesn't mean it's going to guarantee you the featured, but at least you get a sparking, right? But for the most part, 95% of the banners are not sparking guaranteed. So, and then Zenkai in itself is its own weakness as well, because that in itself can kind of create a huge power gap between the players, especially if the player is dumping out a lot of CC into these Zenkai units and making them much more buff than the actual like top tier Legends limited units, right? It is pay to play friendly. It is not free to play friendly, right? So over the course of time, actually over the course of the pandemic, Legends has become a lot more money driven. And all gachas really are. But when you look at Dokkan has been able to give out, they've been more generous with stones, with tickets, with opportunities for free pools. Legends does not have that. Outside of the anniversary, which, that in itself is kind of debatable how generous they were. And also lastly is that PvP can be frustrating. The core aspect of the game can eventually lead to frustration. You could eventually be like, I fucking hate this mode and I'm so over it. And that's okay. Because it's driven to create this competitiveness, but after a while people can get frustrated because of modders, because of perfect vanish, because of you name it, just so many things. Stop clocking. People can get frustrated and be like, I fucking hate this game. So what is my verdict, right? We land on this we land after the 20 plus minutes that we've spent together in this video. What is the verdict? The verdict, it really is, if you're really struggling between the two, really think about your day. What are you doing? And actively play that one game and passively play the other, right? For example, today I didn't have as many work meetings, so I actively played Legends more and let Dokkan kind of run more on like the Peton battle side of things, and not really play that as actively as I usually would, right? But if I'm gonna be in a meeting, right, and there's some ability to kind of turn off my webcam and kind of just chill, and all I'm doing is listening, and so on and so forth, I'll turn on Dokkan and pop a few bubbles here and there, and cool, that's good, that's great. Each one has its own aspect of replay value. So I wouldn't say that one is better than the other, right? I would say that more so appropriately kind of think of what your day's going to look like and then play in that manner, right? If your day is going to look a little bit more relaxed, then play Legends a little bit more actively. If your day is going to look a little bit more hectic, play Dokkan a little more actively, and Legends kind of a little on the passive side. Adventures, things like that. So I hope this helped. I know it didn't give a definite answer of like which one's better than the other, because technically speaking and ideally speaking, neither is better than the other. They just really aren't, right? Now, if we want to look at it from a free-to-play friendliness, Dokkan takes the cake by far, right? Now, if we want to look at the aspect of replayability from an active engaged mode, then Legends would take the cake. But Legends will also suck your time and really eat up a big chunk of your day if you're playing it actively. Dokkan has a certain time limit to end. You don't have to, and you could literally start the day in the morning playing PvP and go to sleep playing PvP, and you would have played 200 matches. You could easily do that, and energy is not an issue, right? Dokkan, there's a certain finite level until you do have to pay up, right? In order to refresh your stamina, you have to use a stone, or you have to so on and so forth, right? So there's a cap, so just kind of keep that in mind, right? Free to play friendliness, Dokkan for sure. Active game engagement, Legends by far, right? But they both serve their own purpose. So I hope this helped. I'm not a guru, I'm not a genie, I'm not truth, I'm not Goresh, I'm not D-Free. I'm none of those. All I am is just some guy in in Compton, that I love playing gachas, and relatively these are the two games that I love playing. So I hope this helped make up your mind as far as like which one's better in your mind. If you still think one is better than the other, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think as far as which one should we. If you were to make an argument that I should drop one of the two, then drop it in the comments and which one of the two is it. So with that being said, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment where I should follow you, Insta, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. I'm more than happy to follow and engage you guys in a conversation. So with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.